This is the Leitmotif and Movement Podcast, a father and son's journey into the vast worlds of music. I am your host, Mike Ficklin. Joining me on this epic musical journey is my son,
Michael Ficklin.
This show is dedicated to the discussion of music and introducing Michael to music from the past and present. We discuss music mainly from the genres of rock, hard rock, and heavy metal. We also, from time to time, dive into film and video game scores. And we sprinkle in some surprises along the way. Michael, what have you been listening to this week?
I listened to the playlist, of course. It's the Christmas time. I've been forced to listen to Christmas music, even though by the time we were recording this, it's not even December 1st yet.
Are you mad about that, bro?
Yes, it's not Christmas time until it says December 1st on my calendar.
I'm going to disagree with you. Christmas time has always been any time post-Thanksgiving, so...
They were playing it before Thanksgiving. But that and the assignment, that's really it.
Okay, that's fair. It's been a pretty busy last couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, between the holidays and just everything going on, I really haven't had much opportunity to listen to much of anything either. I did check out the deluxe edition of the Blue Nowhere from Between the Buried and Me. It's a deluxe re-release of the album that was just released a little over 2 months ago. In my previous review of the album, I had mentioned how much I enjoy this, and it hasn't changed here. What makes this a deluxe release is they included a bonus track titled Overture, and then a whole second disc with an instrumental-only version of the record. I love it when bands release instrumental versions of their records. It allows for you to appreciate the nuances and complexities that you may have missed because of the vocal performance. As someone that deeply appreciates great musicianship, the instrumental work on this album is absolutely stellar. I am a bit put off by the fact that they're doing this so close to the original release date, but it is what it is. I also checked out the new record from Spock's Beard, titled The Archaeoptimist. This is the 14th record from the American progressive rock band, and the first one in 7 years. I'll go ahead and admit that I haven't been as big of a fan since the departure of Neil Morse. To me, Neil was a part of the signature sound of the band and one of the driving creative forces. There's just something missing since he's been gone. That said, this record was a hit or miss affair for me. It has some really good moments, but has a lot of dull ones too. For me, the clear highlights are the 20-minute title track and the album closer Next Step. And when I say highlights, I mean that from purely a musical sense, because the lyrics are a letdown, especially the lyrics to The Archaeoptimist. It's such a cool song title and album title, but the lyrical content just left something to be desired. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But that's really all I've listened to over the last couple of weeks.
Boring.
I know, right? I've got a whole list of stuff that just came out this past Friday, which was the day after Thanksgiving, and I just have not had time to listen to any of it. So, when we do our next episode, there'll be some extra stuff that I'll have to cover for the next episode. Michael, do you have anything else before we move on to the next segment?
I do not.
Okay. So we'll now move into the Art of Discovery. This is our segment where we take a listen to some bands that are either unsigned or just not getting the amount of love we feel that they deserve. And we've got some fantastic choices for you today. We're going to kick things off with a progressive metal band from Coimbra, Portugal, This is Flood in Belief with their song Flood in Belief. And once again, that was Flood and Belief with their song Flood and Belief. That comes from their record titled Senseless. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, floodandbelief.bandcamp.com. Michael, what'd you think about that one?
That was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Amazing starting to the episode right there.
Yes, sir. Lots of great guitar work, great musicianship abound, outstanding song.
Yes, outstanding. Agreed.
All right, Michael, up next, we've got a progressive metal band out of Odense, Denmark. This is FREKVENT with their song The Garden of Delusion. And once again, that was FREKVENT with their song The Garden of Delusion. That comes from their record titled In Hubris. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, frekvent.bandcamp.com. Michael, what did you think about that one?
Playlist got +1.
Now, hold up. It's not +2?
Sure.
I really think that you will enjoy the entire In Hubris record, and I think, for that matter, you would enjoy the entire Senseless record from Flood and Belief as well. Both outstanding records, man.
I'll give it a shot.
Report back. All right, Michael, for our final track, we've got a progressive post-rock doom band out of Paris, France. This is Maudits with their song Fall Over. And once again, that was Maudits with their song Fall Over. That comes from their new record titled In Situ. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, mauditsofficial.bandcamp.com. Michael, what'd you think about that one?
That was amazing.
Yeah, these guys rock, dude.
Just amazing.
This album is actually on my list of contenders for best of the year. So you're going to get to hear this whole thing in its entirety over the next couple of weeks. It's phenomenal.
I can't escape it.
All right. With that said, we would like to thank all of the bands featured on this week's segment. If you would like to have your music featured on the segment, feel free to reach out to us either via email at lightmovepod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on one of our social media accounts. We'd be happy to take a listen to your music, and if we dig what we hear, we'd love to play a song on the show. All right, Michael, now it's time to get into our main topic. This time around, we're breaking down the Reticent's brand new release, Please. I reached out to the band about a week ago and received a very kind email back detailing the background on this record and giving us some notes on each of the songs, which I thought was very cool. So a big, big thanks goes out to Chris Hathcock for providing this information to us. The Reticent is the brainchild of multi-instrumentalist and vocalist Chris Hathcock. I'm going to kick us off with this email that Chris sent us. He states, I began writing Please not long after the Oubliette came out. I was having a difficult time personally and decided I wanted to write something that captured my own experience. That was in late 2021. At the end of January 2022, my father had a stroke from which he would not recover, dying one day before his birthday in early February. I spiraled down a deep hole of grief. I did not make or listen to music of any kind for weeks. I lived in silence. My marriage was in shambles, so I spent nearly all of my time when not at work alone and in silence. The grief brought me to the edge. I walked out into the woods. I saw no further point in continuing my existence and felt I just wanted the pain to at last stop. With my mind made up, I went to my car with my plan in place. But when I started it, a song began playing. It was Early Grave by The Contortionist. Silly as it sounds, it felt like my father telling me not to do it, to stay. I placed my head in my hands and sobbed. But from there, I resolved to finish writing Please and to write an entire different album at the same time that dealt with my intense grief. Over the next 8 months, I wrote nearly 2 hours of material. I wanted the songs on Please to capture my state of mind in many dark moments. For instance, songs about suicide are often portrayed with great sadness, or in the case of DSBM, they are romanticized. With The Chance, I wanted to capture that conflicted peace that someone feels when they have decided they're gonna die. It's almost like hope, because suicidal people don't actually want to die. They just want their pain to end. That's the conflict. And when the pain overwhelms all things, the person isn't thinking about dying, but rather the chance that the pain will finally stop. This is why it is important to talk to people, because it does help. But, again, with the stigma, most people do not feel safe confessing such thoughts. With the song The Bed of Wasps, I wanted to capture the breathless, suffocating frenzy when in the grip of a panic attack. This album is not to demonstrate how to fix any of these things, but rather to be illustrative of what those experiences are like, hiding it, not being believed, not sleeping, etc. Whether I achieve that, I have no idea. I'm too close to the material to tell you if it's good or garbage. I hope I did. Regarding whether this was the hardest album, it was the second hardest. The Grief album I will release next year was the hardest album I've ever done, and has the most painful song I've ever recorded. Recording these albums took nearly 2 years, because it had to be done in fits and spurts. I recorded all the drums for both new records in one single day with a sprained ankle. When we finished, I was just laying on the floor in pain. During the final days of vocal recording, I had pushed my voice too far and injured my larynx. It got bad enough to where I had to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor who scoped my larynx to determine if I would need surgery. I was able to avoid surgery, but had to be silent for 6 weeks. I even taught my classes without speaking. My larynx never fully went back to normal, but I can sing again. And further, I pulled this little piece from the Reticent Bandcamp page. Please is an autobiographical album that delves into the heart of mental health battles, from hiding one's illness all the way to the brink of oblivion. And finally, this piece was posted on Chris's Facebook page on the day that Please was released. He states, "Hello, friends. This will be of little significance to anyone else, but it means something to me. Today is the release of my new album, Please, which is the first of 2 that I recorded in the wake of my father's death. This album took only a few months to write, but years to complete. It is unique in my output in that I'm not writing about how I felt, but how I feel. This album is what I go through. I wrote it to stay alive, and it served that purpose because I'm still here. But I write these words after another night of sleep counted in minutes, not hours. I write these words with the burden of a mind that wants to destroy itself. Every single thing you will hear me sing about, I am facing right now. I'm writing this before heading to work, and I will have to conceal my utter exhaustion, as well as my intense wish for oblivion, and be a funny, encouraging, and inspiring teacher. I didn't sleep last night, and don't imagine I will tonight either. I'm still receiving messages and comments from people instructing me on the thing I need to do to fix me, because, oh, they have the answer. And I will come home today to my empty, silent house, while waves wash over me, reminding me that my constant pain could all be over with the squeeze of a finger. Please is a look at that. Everything in it has a purpose and reason for being there, including sections of text pulled straight from the DSM-V, which I'm sure people will hate. It is a survival mechanism. It would mean a lot to me if you took the time to listen to it, but I understand if you don't. Feel free to share your thoughts on it. I do want to acknowledge and express my gratitude to the people that helped me make this. James Nelson has been my dear friend and confidant through the entire process, and Paul McBride has also become our brother in arms. Jamie King helped make me sound far better than I really am. Brian Kingsland for his incomparable vocal performance. Vienna Gloom for her sobering narration. Jocelyn Hosserman for her help in creating the visual language of the album. Michael Shedder for believing in this somber project. I hope you haven't come to regret that. And John Asher for helping get some word out about it. I don't have the words to thank you sufficiently if you choose to listen to, and if you choose to share your thoughts or share it with others. But please know it means so much to me. I hope the days are treating you with kindness. Thank you for reading if you did. Thank you for listening if you choose to. So some very poignant words from Chris. A very difficult time for Chris as he went into the writing of this record, including the passing of his father, which I understand that pain all too well, having lost my own father to a very short battle with cancer at the very young age of 44. In the nearly 20 years that have passed since then, that pain has never really dulled. It's still there. It's still like a great hole in my soul and in my heart. So, my condolences, my heart goes out to Chris, because I understand that pain all too well. Michael, do you have anything?
I don't really have anything. That was just I don't really have anything to say.
It's a lot of information, but it gives a brilliant insight into the making of the record, what went through Chris's mind as he was writing it. I do want to touch on real quick before we get into our track by track analysis. Folks that were featured on the record, all instruments and vocals were performed by Chris Hathcock, with the exception of lead guitar and additional acoustic guitar by James Nelson. Guest vocals on The Bed of Wasps provided by Brian Kingsland, and narration provided by Vienna Gloom. And with that said, Michael, we'll go ahead and dive into our track by track analysis. We're going to kick things off with track number 1. This is Intake. Michael, what do you have on this?
It's just like a intro track. We have a little bit of speaking from, what is his name? Why can't I think of his name right on the top of my head? Yeah, I can't think of his name. And then it gets into a little nice piano piece. That's...
Yeah. This opening track starts out giving us some statistics on suicide. It later includes what seems to be maybe journal entries being read aloud, or someone giving a speech about their experience with battling mental health and attempted suicide. This is accompanied by a simple and haunting piano melody. The track closes with someone stating that talking about the issues a person is battling can help the person suffering from them. The statistics given are very sobering and sad. Suicide has become the second leading cause of death in young people, just behind accidental death. I just want you to know that if you're battling with depression and suicidal thoughts, you are not alone. You're loved and you're cared about. I care even if I don't know you. You have value to me. Chris tells us about this. This introductory track sets the scene for the mental illness epidemic and what it is like to live with it, featuring audio from psychologists and suicide survivors. The piano previews the melody and progression in The Concealment, which is the next track on the record. Michael, do you have anything else on Intake?
I do not.
Okay. So we will move on to track number 2. This is The Concealment, Those Who Don't Want to Wake. Michael, what do you have on this?
I really like the opening with the awesome guitar riff. There's some good vocals.
Yes.
And I like the build-up within like the first minute 30 into the vocals. I really like that. Awesome drum work and great vocal work.
Yeah, Chris's vocals are stellar. Absolutely stellar. As this song opens, we soon realize that the haunting piano melody was actually the same as the opening guitar riff to this song. As Chris mentioned, I really love the main guitar riff to this song. It's got a Rush and even Opeth vibe to it. As we get into the verses, we're greeted with a heavier and more sinister guitar riff as we hear Chris Hathcock's haunting vocals. The vocals are, I think, meant to be the inner monologue of someone trying to hide their depression. The musicianship on this song is so damn good. It's very reminiscent of Opeth to me. James Nelson and Chris Hathcock's guitar work is stellar. The drum work is also killer. There's some great fills and some outstanding rhythmic work. Hathcock is an amazing vocalist. The haunting vocal harmonies during the singing of We Are Lonely Here are darkly beautiful. I believe this song is about trying to outwardly conceal the feelings of helplessness, loneliness, and anxiety that those battling with depression suffer from. Chris tells us this track is about what those struggling have to do to survive. Hide. We learn to say we're fine so we can get along. But then at the end of the day, the emptiness, the pain, etc., it all washes over us like a tide. With 1 in 4 adults experiencing a mental health crisis yearly, but 70% of them not seeking or able to get help. The notion of we are lonely refers to how we may be suffering similarly in silence right next to others feeling the same. Musically, the song is a dynamic progressive metal song that features interlacing harmonies, all culminating in the final giant crescendo as the song reaches its emotional climax. Michael, do you have anything else on this one?
I do not.
Okay. So we will move along to track number 3. This is The Night River, Those Who Can't Rest. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like the riff, beginning riff, and then I like the vocals. I love the drum work, and I just want to say the vocals on this album are absolutely amazing.
They really are.
Absolute cinema.
Great stuff. Have we hit your favorite song on the record yet?
We have not.
Okay. So, this song opens up with someone speaking about those that suffer from sleep deprivation. It's a nightly occurrence that the longer it goes on can create further issues. It's stated that after 48 to 72 hours of no sleep, hallucinations can begin. The opening to this song reminds me very much of something Tool might do. Hathcock's drum pattern is very Danny Carey-esque. Nelson and Hathcock's guitar work is very Adam Jones-like. There's a killer bass line on the song as well. It rolls perfectly in rhythm with the guitar work. Hathcock's vocals are again haunting and emotional. You can really feel the sadness and emotion in his vocal melodies during the chorus. There's a desperation there. Hathcock shows off his death metal growls as he screams, "Never sleep again." There's a very cool keyboard piece around the 440 mark that suddenly stops, leading to an ethereal moment, complete with the haunting whispers of someone wondering if they will ever sleep again, before we get into the full-bodied close of the song. The very end of the song details additional health problems that arise from sleep deprivation. It is, again, very sobering. Chris tells us insomnia can take many forms, so in this case, it is represented by the nagging thoughts, hence the constant whispers in the left and right speaker during the verses. The lyrics begin very verbose and articulate, before the exhaustion and fear turns to the notion of never sleeping again. The music is a bit more animated in the vein of prog rock, with many sections being exclusively tapped before it gets more aggressive as the desperation sets in. Michael, do you have anything else on The Night River?
I do not.
Okay, so we will move along to track number 4. This is Diagnosis 1. Michael, what do you have on this?
This is, like, I don't really know how to describe the feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of a segue.
Yeah, that's really the best way to describe it. I'm trying to figure out which instrument is being played through it.
Yeah, it's almost like a music box. Like the sound of a music box.
Yeah, I could believe
Yeah.
that. I could believe that.
I kind of had what I thought written down here. I've got that it sounds like a music box playing the melody to Row, Row, Row Your Boat in the background. There's an explanation given about panic attacks. This includes the symptoms that come from them. As someone that has suffered from panic attacks, I felt this so hard. It took me right back to those feelings. We hear the sounds of someone suffering a panic attack disorder. Their breathing becomes more labored. Chris tells us this is an examination of the symptoms of a panic attack and panic disorder. The sounds are meant to enhance the feeling of anxiety. And it definitely does that.
Yeah.
Michael, do you have anything else on Diagnosis 1?
I do not.
Okay. So we'll move along to track number 5. This is The Bed of Wasps, Those Consumed with Panic. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like how it carries over. I I, I also like the vocals. I'm gonna say this is probably one of my favorite songs on the record,
Yeah, it's a really good song.
and I like the introduction of screaming vocals on this song.
I think he does a little bit of that on The Night River, but yeah, his death growls on this song are great.
Love how there's like some pauses, also at certain points in the song.
There's a lot of really cool stuff going on with this.
Yes.
Yeah, like you said, we go straight from the interlude into the heaviest track on the record by far. There is the sound of discord. The guitar riff here at the open is dissonant. Then we get into the song proper, and this one feels like a straight up death metal song. Hathcock's blood curdling growls and screams fill the air, along with some further dissonance from the guitars. Around a minute and a half in, we get into a quieter piece for a moment before it heads right back into the hard and heavy. We get some clean vocals for a brief moment as the singer explains what is happening to him. The panic swells to a fever pitch. The music gets more intense as the panic attack gets worse. The vocals get more intense, harsh, and panic stricken. The closing moments with Hathcock screaming, pleading, "Please stop!" and the accompanying heavy metal assault is haunting and emotional. You sympathize with this person. Hathcock's drum work on this song deserves a lot of recognition and respect. He does a phenomenal job with the changes in tempo, reflecting the panic as it rises. Hathcock and Nelson's guitar work is equally superb. It's complex and dissonant, jazzy at times even. This is one of my favorite songs on the record by far. Chris tells us, aggressive, technical, and desperate. This song features the heaviest and most metal moments of the record, pulling from death and black metal in near constant odd time signatures. The dissonant sounds and odd rhythms are meant to keep the listener uneasy so that they may feel some of the panic attack. The lyrics are actually made from cutting out pieces of statements made by patients who suffer from panic disorder. The song culminates in the desperate refrain of "Please stop," something any sufferer will have begged. Michael, do you have anything else on the Bed of Wasps?
Nope.
Okay. So we will move on to track number 6. This is The Scorn, Those Who Don't Understand. Michael, what do you have on this?
I really like the guitar riff and vocals. I like the drum work. Awesome song. And I'll let you take it off how you want to take it.
Yeah, so the beginning of this song just pisses me off.
Which I will wholeheartedly agree with.
There is a Piers Morgan interview with the total tool Andrew Tate, where Tate says that he doesn't believe in clinical depression. I can't stand Tate anyway, but his comments are ignorant. I understand why the band chose this audio clip for this song. The song is about those that show no empathy or understanding for those that battle with mental health afflictions. They may even outright dismiss or shun those that do. Musically, this feels like another Opeth-inspired song. I hear it in the tone of the guitars and even in the riffs themselves. Hathcock's vocals really shine on this song. He effortlessly glides between his cleans and his harsh growls, much like the music itself. There's so much anger and vitriol dripping from Hathcock's lyrics and vocals. Nelson and Hathcock's guitar work on the song is so damn good. I really love the heavier riffs. Hathcock's drum work is equally outstanding. His fills and his patterns are complex and interesting. I love the trippy breakdown that starts around the 5-minute mark. This gives way to a brutal death metal segment of the song which just goes hard as hell. This is another favorite of mine from the record. Chris tells us this song is decidedly more groove-oriented in keeping with the almost mocking tone of the lyrics. Lyrically, the song takes the perspective of someone who does not understand what it is to have major depressive disorder or suicidal ideation. As such, they instruct the listener to just get over it, pointing out it's all in your head. The presence of more major chords and straightforward grooves is the world that those who don't understand live in. Exotic hand percussion and string instruments like the oud are introduced in this song, making it feel further removed from the others. Michael, do you have anything else on the scorn?
Nope.
Okay. So we will move on to track number 7. This is Diagnosis 2. Michael, what do you have on this?
This is another...
It's like another interlude or a segue.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the word. I couldn't remember the exact word. But we hear someone talking about different... It sounds like medical terms and all that.
They're talking about clinical depression.
I'll let you take it away. I don't really have much.
Yeah, so the voiceover is explaining clinical depression. There's a haunting, emotional, ethereal ambiance to this track. It even has the sounds of ocean waves rolling in toward the end of the track. This sound is one that has always relaxed me, though I do not believe that this is the intention here. I have never been diagnosed with clinical depression, but I certainly relate to some of the symptoms that are being spoken of. I saw a therapist for a while to deal with what I refer to as seasonal depression. The holidays are always the toughest time of the year for me. I can't tell you the number of times I've cried seeing holiday commercials, watching one of my favorite holiday specials, or just hearing a piece of holiday music. My heart goes out to any who go through this, or worse. Chris tells us this is an examination of the symptoms of major depressive disorder. The sounds this time are more dull and listless, almost calm. The ocean can be heard slowly fading in as it goes on, transitioning into the next song, The Riptide. Michael, do you have anything else on Diagnosis 2?
I do not.
Okay. So we will move on to track number 8. This is The Riptide, Those Without Hope. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like the opening, and I like the different type of vocal presence they did with his vocals.
Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of a vulnerability in the vocal delivery.
Yeah.
Emotion.
I like what they did with this song, period. It's kind of like a more... I don't really know how to describe it.
It's very calm.
I just... Yeah. And I think I gotta say this is probably my second favorite song on the record.
It is a really, really good tune. I totally understand why you feel that way. The sound of waves crashing on a beach open this track. It's an eerie, haunting keyboard piece that comes in. The guitar tone on this song is much cleaner. It's a very calm and quiet guitar riff. I love Hathcock's vocals on this song. There's so much emotion and vulnerability in his vocal delivery. From a musical standpoint, this is certainly the most straightforward song on the record. It's a bluesy, ethereal ballad that is just hauntingly beautiful. Chris tells us this song features the thinnest texture of all the songs on the album, made up only of keyboard, guitar, and vocals. The theme of water plays out sonically and lyrically as depression is represented as both an undertow pulling someone under the surface of the water and a riptide pulling them far from shore. The depression washes away all hope and won't let go, so the sensation of drowning begins. The guitar solo in the song is also done with the tone knob completely rolled down, creating a more muted sound like we would hear underwater. Michael, do you have anything else on the Riptide?
I do not.
Okay. So now we'll move on to track number 9. This is The Chance, Those Who Let Go. And let me just say, this might be the most chilling, emotional song on the record.
Yeah,
Go ahead, buddy.
I will have to agree. You can immediately tell the chilling vibe it puts off. Like, as soon as you get in the song, you start hearing those more chilling vocals. The guitar riff and drum work kind of bounces off that too. But also, I gotta say something. I say probably some of the best vocals are on this song.
Yeah,
He hits some high notes.
yeah, he kills it on the song.
I don't even think I can hit some of those high notes.
This song reminds me of something from Opeth's Damnation record. It opens with this quiet, gorgeous acoustic guitar riff, accompanied by brushes on the drums. There's a really killer bass line on this. We do get some heavier moments in the chorus. Distorted guitars come in during these sections, joined by declamatory drums. Around the halfway point, we revisit the melodies from the concealment. Coming out of this section, we get into this more bright and hopeful musical section. However, this is deceiving. The lyrics indicate the hope that the depressed individual has that by ending their life, it will bring them peace and the end of their pain. It's a very sobering and emotional section of the song. The music picks up tempo and energy slowly as we move towards the climax, as we move towards the decision. Then, suddenly, there's nothing. Chris tells us this song is a perspective on suicide from the vantage point of someone who feels it is their only way out. As such, the song takes on a peaceful, almost hopeful feel in both harmony and melody. This is to represent the peace that comes from knowing that their suffering will soon be at an end. There remains conflict, however, in both how the narrator hesitates as well as distant pleas of "help me, please," indicating that this is something he is struggling with. Suicidal people don't actually want to die. They just want to escape. They want the pain to stop. The lyrics begin painting pictures of a place without pain, representing the fantasy of release that people feel on the edge of suicide. The music is more intimate here, with acoustic guitars and brushes on the drums that transition to a melody that repeats over and over, but builds more and more each time, culminating in a large crescendo mirroring that of the concealment, but it is suddenly cut short, and we're left with silence, suggesting that the narrator did in fact pull the trigger. Michael, do you have anything else on The Chance?
I do not.
Okay. So we will move on now to the final track on the record. This is Discharge. Michael, what do you have on this?
This is kind of like chilling because of the it's starts out with like somebody dialing a phone and not being able to reach it,
Yeah, the number's not in service anymore.
which is saddening.
Incredibly chilling. Very sad.
Then we get back to that one instrument that we had heard at the beginning of the record, and we get more speaking portion as we have gotten on these segues.
Yep. In addition to the track opening with the sound of a phone call that doesn't go through because the number being dialed is no longer in service, We get the sounds of a woman talking about receiving a text from her husband before he chose to end his life. There is information given about the psychological side of suicide, what the deceased may have been going through and how they felt. This information is presented with ethereal, haunting, atmospheric music. It's a quite harrowing and emotional way to close the journey. Chris tells us the title here is a double entendre, and its meaning depends on how the listener wants to interpret it. A person could be discharged from a hospital or clinic, and a firearm can also discharge. A broken piece of the melody from the concealment and intake plays against in more somber, droning background while we hear from a suicide survivor describing losing her husband. From there, we hear from two different psychologists giving perspectives on what affects and impacts suicide. This piece is a reflection on the aftermath of suicide. Michael, do you have anything else on discharge?
I do not.
Okay. So with that said then, we are going to get into our final thoughts and our album ratings out of 5. Michael, go ahead and kick us off. Let's get your final thoughts and your album rating.
This album is amazing. I recommend giving this a shot. 100%.
It's a beautiful journey.
And there's really not much more to say other than it deserves a 5 out of 5. And it is probably one of the best records I've heard in my life.
Dude, that just put a big old smile on my face, man. This record resonates hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What an incredible journey this record is. First, I have to say that my heart goes out to Chris and really anyone that has been or is going through the mental anguish and struggles. I won't pretend that I have a full understanding, but I do have some idea. Second, the musicianship on this record is absolutely stellar. Michael Ackerfeld would be proud of this. The Opeth vibes are real. Chris is an extremely gifted songwriter and multi-instrumentalist. There are some very complex pieces on this record that are performed so effortlessly. Take a listen to songs like The Bed of Wasps and The Scorn for some really good examples of how complex the writing and playing is. Chris is also an incredibly gifted vocalist, weaving beautifully between his softer melodic vocals and his harsh, blood-curdling growls effortlessly. I know that Chris mentioned having issues with his larynx while recording, but I believe that he successfully overcame that hurdle. His performance on this record is perfection. I also want to take a moment to praise James Nelson, who provided lead guitar and some additional acoustic guitar on this record. If Chris Hathcock is the creative force, then James is the steadying force. His guitar work is top-notch, helping to execute some incredibly complex pieces on this record. Please is a hauntingly beautiful journey, and one of my favorite records of the year. It gets a 5 out of 5 from me as well. And that will take us to our question for the audience. What is your favorite track on Please, and why? All right, Michael. Now we will move into our next segment. This is Can't Wait. New music coming soon. Michael, what's on your list?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing over the next couple weeks. Fair enough. Getting towards the end of the year. Not a lot on my radar either, to be fair.
My bucket list is the giant playlist that you had to prescribe to me.
Well, I'm hoping you're going to be able to pick out a top 5 from that giant playlist. For me, it's just a couple of records that are on my radar. Both of them come out on December 5th. They're both live records. The first one is from Persephone with their record Live in Andorra. And then Tesseract releases a live record titled Radar Live. Aside from that, not a whole lot leading up to the end of the year, so I've already got plenty of homework to do, plenty of music to listen to here over the next couple weeks as we head towards our final episode of the year. So I'm not too particularly worried about not having a lot of new stuff to listen to. Got plenty of other stuff to listen to. All right. We did not receive any listener feedback, so we will get into our final segment. This is Michael's Journey, discovering a song from the past. And this time, we're going to get Michael's thoughts on INXS's Need You Tonight. A little bit of background on Need You Tonight. This was released as the first single from INXS's 1987 album, Kick, as well as the fourth song on the album. It is the only INXS single to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It also achieved their highest charting position in the United Kingdom, where the song reached number 2 on the UK singles chart. However, this peak was only reached after a re-release of the single in November of 1988. On its first run on the UK charts in October 1987, it stalled at number 58. It was one of the last songs recorded for the album, yet it would arguably become the band's signature song. In January of 2018, as part of Triple M's Ozfest 100, the most Australian songs of all time, Need You Tonight was ranked number 69. And in 2025, the song was ranked at number 59 on the Triple J Hottest 100 of Australian Songs. The personnel featured on this song: Michael Hutchence on lead and backing vocals, Andrew Ferris on electric guitar, EMU Emulator 2 synthesizer, Roland TR-707 programming, Tim Ferris on electric guitar, Kirk Pengilly on electric guitar and saxophone, Gary Beers on bass guitar, and John Ferris on drums and Roland TR-707 programming. It was certified platinum in the United Kingdom, also certified gold in Australia, Denmark, Italy, and Spain. And with that little bit of background out of the way, Michael, let's get your thoughts on Need You Tonight.
If you don't know the song just by the first 30 seconds, I will actually be surprised, and I'll call you an uncultured swine.
I take it you knew this song.
Yes. Who doesn't know it just by the riff?
Yep. Picked it up through cultural osmosis.
That riff is probably one of the most iconic riffs.
Definitely one of the best pop rock riffs of the 80s, for sure.
Amazing vocals. I love that riff. It's amazing.
Very hooky.
Yes. Just amazing. And if you don't know it, you're an uncultured swine. And I will take that to the grave.
Out of curiosity, how many listens does it have on Spotify, sir?
It is their number 2. No, actually, it's number 1. Spotify is lying. The parent song that is in first has 508 million, while Need You Tonight has 589 million. How does that math work out? I understand it. Yeah, the math ain't mathing on Spotify.
You have anything else?
No, except for 5 out of 5.
Oh, Michael gives it the perfect score. It's a perfect day all around for Michael. So for me, this is another one of those songs that lives rent-free in my head. Even though I couldn't claim to know all of the lyrics, I know the vocal melodies so well. The late Michael Hutchence delivers the lyrics in a quiet, sensual manner. He's putting the verbal moves on the lady he's got his eyes on. The music is instantly identifiable. The synthesizer work from Andrew Ferris and that simple guitar hook from Tim Ferriss and Kirk Pingley get stuck in your head. The drum beat is infinitely danceable. It begs you to clap along, dance, and sing. This is one of my favorite INXS songs, and certainly among my all-time 80s favorites in general. Great tune.
Now that riff's gonna be stuck in my head all day.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a darn good riff. All right, Michael. Up next for you on your journey, we've got Whitney Houston with her song How Will I Know? And for our main topic on the next episode, it's our yearly finale. We'll be discussing our top 5 records of 2025.
We're already here.
I know. Year has flown by so fast. All right, with that said, we want to hear from you. We will read your emails and messages on the show. We have only one request. Keep them clean. There are several ways to contact us. You can email us at lightmovepod@gmail.com. You can also reach us on several social media platforms, such as Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Details on how to connect with us are in the show notes. We are part of the SPDM Crew Podcast Network. Check out all of the podcasts on the network by visiting spdmcrew.com.
If you like the show, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform and share with your friends and family. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a variety of other platforms. We're also on YouTube. Can't find us on your chosen platform? Shoot us a message and let us know. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This helps us be found in the algorithm. Make them good and we'll read them on the air. Are you in a band and you'd like for us to check you out and possibly drop a recommendation on the show? Shoot us a message. We'd love to check you out and give you a shout. We'd like to thank you very much for listening to the Leitmotif and Movement podcast.
Take care and enjoy music.